Hello and welcome. How is everyone doing? I randomly got a sore throat at 8:30 this morning, and that is typically my body's way of saying you're about to get sick. So, mom was not happy about that, but we move on. We continue. In other news, this is also the first time I'm filming in front of these guys. So, this used to be Junior and Joja, now it's a trio of babies. I don't know how they'll respond. Hera seems unhappy. Hera has really bad eyesight, and so she does kind of react strongly to movement specifically. I'll be sitting across the room and I'll move my foot and I'll hear her bolt. So yeah, she has really bad eyesight. Jelly, I think, will be fine, and I don't see Clark. Oh, hi. There's Clark. They don't seem pleased with this. That's fine. Again, we're gonna move on anyway. Oh, here comes my cat. We'll give her a second to join us before we get into today's video. Hey, baby. You coming around? Come on. You know what to do. And there she is. My baby. Okay. So today's video is going to be a little different. I'm mostly just going to be talking about like how rats are for like anxiety or other mental health issues. And it's a little different because the fact of the matter is it is so dependent upon the person and like how you deal with things. So I'm just going to kind of be discussing a few things to think about. Like if you know yourself pretty well and you know what you can and can't handle, I'm just going to be discussing some things to consider if you're thinking maybe rats would be a good animal to help you. I have made a pros and cons list. Some things are in there twice, and I will discuss why when we get to them. But yeah, let's start with the pros. We'll start on the positive. Now, the first thing may seem obvious, but a lot of people aren't aware or they don't know how affectionate rats are, but rats are in fact extremely affectionate pets. They love you. They will love you a lot. Sometimes you can get some that are a little more skittish, a little less interested, but they will still show love in their own way. They might prefer to play, or they might just want to hang out next to you, or they'll stare at you from across the room, which is a personal favorite of mine. It's always funny turning around and seeing a rat just like lasered in on you. And all these are signs of affection and love. And that's because rats, even if they don't sit with you while you pet them, August is playing with my notebook. She's trying to get my pen. They still show a lot of affection in their own way, and they still love you, even if that love just like trust. Because for a rat to trust you, it means that they feel safe around you, and they don't think you're going to hurt them. And they're prey animals, so that does mean a lot. But they do oftentimes sit and cuddle with you. I have a lot of videos of my rats just sitting there and cuddling with me and giving me kisses. Or Scylla likes to sit on my chest and kiss my face. I had a rat named Hex who also did that. And yeah, that's nice. That feels nice to know that they love you. Number two, I put that they're silly. And that's because sometimes you need to laugh, and rats are really good at making you do that by just being silly. They have a lot of behaviors that just make people smile. Boggling's one of them, and that's when they grind their teeth together and it makes their eyes pop, and it's usually a sign that they're very relaxed. It can also be a stress behavior, but more often than not, it's a sign that they're relaxed. They also like to nest. This is a personal favorite of mine. I like to give them a lot of nesting material. So like you can see this strip of paper in their cage, that is for nesting. They'll grab it and just run with it. And I like watching them run around with the nesting material. They also hop, and August, my love, she wants my pen so bad. They also hop, and they like to play. So basically, if you just gently like rub your hand down their back, they'll bounce around, they'll like run in a circle and come back at you, and they'll like grab your hand to get you to do it again, and it's super cute. So yeah, rats are really good at making you smile and laugh, and that is invaluable. Next, I'll say that they give you a purpose. Like, they give you a reason to get up and do things. Because it's like, well, their cage needs to be clean. They oftentimes need medicine. They want attention. They need to be fed. It's like it's hard to sit around all day when you have a pet that needs you to get up and do things. And the thing with rats is they have a lot of like little tasks as opposed to like taking a dog on like a 45-minute walk or something. They have a lot of little tasks like, okay, well, you have to feed them. That's going to take like 5 minutes. You have to do spot cleaning, that's like 20 minutes. You have to give them meds, that's also like 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes, depending on how picky your rat is. So it's a lot of little tasks that still get you up and doing stuff while without feeling daunting. Now there are things that are daunting, which we'll get to in the cons section. Next, I'd like to talk about the community. So like the rat community is a large community, and a lot of people find it very welcoming and comforting to have like a lot of people there who are going to help you out, who are going to guide you through how to take care of rats, who are just going to show you their rats. It's like, it's not a huge community necessarily. It's like everyone has a cat or a dog. Not everyone has rats. But we do like to come together for rats and just enjoy them because they're not a common pet. They're not a popular pet. In fact, a lot of people really hate rats, and you do get some things with that. Another thing is, like I said earlier, rats have a lot of small tasks that need done every day, and they don't necessarily need huge things done every single day, and that does give you a little bit more flexibility with your independence or like going out and doing stuff if that's something you want to do. So it's like you want to go out and do something, and well, you don't have to be home necessarily to walk a rat. You can just feed them before you leave and then go do something. Now, even if you want to travel, this can be spotty because it's like, okay, well, you want to go out for the weekend. That's not hard. You just make sure there's someone to come check on them once a day and feed them once a day. That's not too hard. And they don't need to come out of their cage. You want to go out for a week, it's similar. If you want to leave for 2 weeks, that's when you start getting into issues. It's like the longer you're gone, the more likely you're going to need someone to come in and actually take care of them. But you do have a lot of wiggle room with them. It's not like a cat or a dog where you're going to have to really heavily consider pet sitters if you want to go for even a couple of days, or boarding them, and then all the things that come with that, like making sure they're up to date on their vaccines and all that stuff. With rats, as long as you have someone who's willing to come in and just like make sure they have water and then sprinkle some food in their cage, it'll be okay while you're gone for like up to a week. It's beyond that where I would consider getting someone who's willing to be a little bit more heavily involved with the rats to watch them. But because they're happy in their cage, it's just their home, the cage isn't a bad environment for them, they feel safe in there, they are okay just kind of being watched casually by someone else. One way that I find my rats are really good for my anxiety is they are very sympathetic animals. So like if I'm feeling very anxious or sad, I do find my rats tend to kind of mob me. Basically, I'll take them out for free roam, I'll sit down, and all of a sudden I have like 5 of the 6 dwarfs on me giving me kisses. Mystic in particular will like really hound me, and then Scylla is always wanting attention, so she's always with me as well. But it's not just the dwarfs, it's all of them where they're just like, you know what, we sense that you're not doing great today, and we're not happy with that, so we're gonna make a thing of it until you're smiling and laughing, at least for a little bit. And I do think that that's a really important thing for people who have anxiety, to just know that like there is an animal that cares is trying to cheer you up. And that can be good for people with anxiety, to feel seen and to have something that's trying to comfort you without ever having to actually talk about what's wrong or explain it. Because oftentimes, as we all know, it's not explainable, it's just anxiety. Lastly, for the pros, if you're just ever having a bad day and you need a distraction, rats are super fun to do new enrichment ideas with. So like there's pea fishing, there's foraging toys, there's new like just little toys, new things for their free roam area, the dig box, things like that. Just new things, because they're very curious animals and they will interact with whatever new objects you give them, and it can be very rewarding to see them doing that, and it can be a lot of fun. So if like you're ever just like, you know, not doing great and you're just like, I need a little pick-me-up, rats are great for that, because even if you don't have a bunch of super affectionate rats, if you just give them a new item for enrichment, they are very likely to still make you laugh and smile by just playing with it. It also gives you something to do in preparation, because like there's no endless amount of DIY that you can do for your rats, and it always feels like it's worthwhile. They always use it, I find, even if they don't use it the way you expect. Like you go in assuming it's going to get destroyed. I'll say that. But it could be fun watching them destroy it. And then you still got to do something. You still got to distract yourself from whatever your brain is doing to you. Now, on the personal level, because like I've talked about it briefly in videos before, but like I have a lot of anxiety. I have some undiagnosed something going on with me, and that's that's just how it is with me. And for me, the rats do, on the pro side, do provide a lot of the things I was talking about. It's like they do make me smile, they do distract me, they are very sympathetic animals. And to be honest, I do find that the structure of having the rats in my day, I definitely need, because otherwise I can very easily just kind of like lose myself into the anxiety that I feel a lot of the time. So it's like there's a reason why I have their meds so shortly after I wake up, because it's a guarantee that I'm going to get out of bed so that I can take care of them, basically. And it's nice, like, when I walk in a room and immediately Scylla's at the door because she's happy to see me, or like these guys have started doing it where they've been very, very used to like my movements in this room. And so like I wake up and all their little heads will pop out of the space pod, which makes me happy because like Gina and Jojo used to do that as well. And it's like that kind of thing where it's just like I look forward to seeing them. They give me a reason to like go about my day, make sure that they have everything that they need. And I understand not everyone's necessarily going to find purpose in having a pet, but if you're here and you're watching this video, I kind of assume that you are one of those people who will find purpose with having a pet. And I do find that the rats really provide that, because again, it's not like with the cats, for example, I feed them in the morning and I feed them at night. They're not usually much more, it's not usually much more than that. It's like they get attention when they come up to me and that's it. Whereas the rats, it's a lot of like little things. Like I take them out for free roam, I spot clean their cage, I feed them in the morning and the afternoon. They get a salad in the morning and their dinner at night, or in the afternoon, I mean. It's like a lot of just tiny little slices of things to do that kind of just like keeps the day rolling very smoothly. And that can be good. For me, that's good. Now we're going to talk about how rats are not good for anxiety and or mental health issues. And the first one's a big one, which is illness. Rats get sick very easily, and it can be extremely, extremely easy to fall into negative thoughts because of that. So it's like the most common things with rats is going to be respiratory issues and some kind of lump. Just some type of lump. Sometimes it's a tumor, sometimes it's an abscess, sometimes it's a cyst, sometimes it's just a weird thing that goes away and you have no idea what it ever was. I've had that, and yeah, it can be a lot to deal with, especially if you have like obsessive thoughts, because then you get into this cycle of just like wondering if you did something wrong, trying to figure out what you did wrong, realizing you didn't do anything wrong, and then the rat gets sick again and it starts all over. Or wondering, okay, well, these tumors keep popping up. Is it something I'm doing? I'm feeding them a proper diet, but maybe it's too much. Maybe it's this item or this item or this item, and just like the cycle over and over and over again. And some of that can fade on its own. As someone who has this issue, I have obsessed with many, many things. Bedding is one of them, because every time my rats would get a respiratory illness, I would just immediately be like, okay, what have I done here? And I would just cycle through different beddings a lot until I was finally like, okay, it's clearly not me. I've done everything I can do, and they still get sick, because rats do just get sick. And it's not always you. So yeah, the thing with that to keep in mind is, if you know that you're prone to those kinds of things and you don't know if you can handle that, rats get sick very, very easily. A lot of time what they get sick with is not something that you can control. It's not something that you can prevent necessarily. A lot of it's genetic. A lot of it's bad luck. A lot of it's just like, because they're rats. They're short-lived animals, which will transition us neatly into our next point, which is that, yes, they're short-lived animals. Rats live 2 to 3 years. That's the common phrase that people say, is like 2 to 3 years. But anyone who's had rats for long enough will tell you that like it's more like they live 2 to 2.5 years. It is very rare for a rat to pass over that 2.5 year mark, and even rarer for them to get all the way to 3 years or above. It does happen. Like, I have 2 rats right now that are 2 years and 9 months old. It happens, obviously, but I've only had 2 rats that made it to 3. Most of my rats that made it past 2.5 were spayed females, or I had two of my 4 neutered males also made it to past 2.5. They only live 2 to 2.5 years most of the time. And the thing with that is it can be very hard, because they're also social pets. So it is recommended that you have at least 3 of them. So if you get 3, at the 2-year mark, it's basically a countdown to losing all 3 of them. And then if you get a growing group, it can sometimes feel just like a constant onslaught of losing pets, especially the more you have. I usually have around 20 rats, and their ages vary, but I do find that I sometimes lose them in clusters, and that's really hard. Like last month, I lost 3 in 24 hours, 2 that were older and had a lot of chronic health issues, and 1 that was younger but also had chronic health issues. And that is hard. And if you know how you deal with pet loss and you know it's hard on you, just know that it's probably going to be harder with rats because you don't get a lot of time with them, and it can just feel like, again, a constant onslaught of pets passing away. Now, on the next item on the list, I did mention previously that it's a lot of little tasks throughout the day. However, rats are a lot of work. The less you have, the less work it is, obviously. So if you only have 3, it's not going to feel like a lot of work. But if you have a lot, if you have a large cage, for example, cleaning a critter nation, that's a lot of work, and it can be exhausting, especially if you have 3 critter nations and you're cleaning for 5 hours on a Saturday. But it is like you have to get up every single day. If they're on meds, you have to do the meds, you have to spot clean, you have to feed them, you have to clean their cage, you have to take them to the vet. No mammal is going to be an easy pet to keep. Invertebrates can be easy to keep, reptiles can be easy to keep, but mammals are not, because they're smelly. They require food very frequently. A lot of reptiles only need to eat like once a week, but with rodents, you need to feed them at least once a day. So there's always something that needs to be done. So like today, a Wednesday, I free roamed everyone. I did their weigh-ins and I did their health checks. And then I have to do all their laundry, because rats use up a surprising amount of laundry, because even if you don't have a ton of stuff in their cage that needs to be washed, they somehow accumulate laundry. They just do. So I need to do all their laundry. I need to clean up their free roam area. And that's just today. Tomorrow I have to spot clean all the cages, and then I also have to free roam them. And then Friday I have to do the big cage maintenance day on the cage in the living room. It's just always something. And for me, that's beneficial. It's like, okay, well, I have to do this, so I have to get up and get going. I have to make sure I get everything done that's not rat related before or after I do the cages. So it's like, for me, it's beneficial, but for a lot of people who have anxiety and depression or like other mental health issues, it can feel like a burden. And you don't ever want to get into a situation where you feel trapped by your own pets, or like that you're not taking care of them. So they are a lot of work. And if you feel like that could be beneficial to you, that can be a pro, but it is also a con for a lot of people. Another con is the contradictions in care, because a lot of times you'll see different things. Like, for example, in the US, it's okay to house doors with standards. In the UK, it's not okay. So it's things like that. There's not, despite what some people want to think, there is not a one-size-fits-all way to care for your rats, because rats are not all exactly the same. They're not carbon copies of each other. So, like, I can put plastic pieces to hang stuff up in some cages, but not others. These guys, it turns out, chew on plastic. They have already chewed up this basket a ton, and I've already had to replace a bunch of the C-clips because they chew plastic. Some people don't like using pine, some people do. Some people prefer aspen, some people don't. I do find that is more of another, oh, you okay, baby? I do find that is another thing that's like country dependent, because UK, it's very common to use pine shavings over aspen, or in the US, people prefer aspen. I don't. Aspen is so dusty. I'm currently using pine shavings, also dusty. I'm probably gonna have to sift them. It is what it is. We're gonna roll with it. I'm gonna get a mesh laundry bag and I'm gonna sift some stuff. And if I do have to sift it, I might switch to aspen, because my issue with aspen is that it's so dusty. It's so dusty. But if you need like clear instructions, you're not going to get that with rats. There's a lot of misconceptions, there's a lot of misinformation, and then there's just also a lot of ways to do things. I see a lot of people still promoting care methods that have not been popular for 10 years. So yes, there are contradictions. It can be hard to know the right thing to do, and that can be very frustrating. and anxiety inducing, wondering if you did the right thing, especially if you follow what you think is the right thing and your rat gets sick, and then you see other people saying, oh, that's not what you're supposed to do, and wondering if you're causing your rat to get sick. So I'll say what I always say, which is that as long as you do a ton of research and you feel like you're making the best decision for your rat, and you course correct when you learn otherwise, you're not doing anything wrong. You are trying to do what's best for them. And as long as you don't get stubborn and decide your way is the only way or the correct way when a lot of people are telling you it's not, then you're not doing anything wrong. Just do the best you can. But yes, that can be very anxiety inducing for a lot of people. So keep that in mind. Now, this is another thing that's both in the pro and con, which is the community. So like, yes, there are a lot of people who like rats, and yes, they will be there for you. But a huge part of the rat community can be extremely mean. A lot, like, I cannot tell you how many times I see people saying that they want rats, but they won't get them because the community is so toxic. That's another subject. Maybe one day I'll talk about it. But yeah, so the thing with the rat community and the pet community in general is that they get very righteous because it's for an animal. The animal's innocent. They can't advocate for themselves. So the people are going to advocate for them. And there's a good way to do this and a bad way to do this. My method is, I'm not saying mine's like the foolproof method or anything, but my method is I generally just show my care, and when people have questions, I answer them. And then I try to come on here and I try to talk about different topics and give my opinions on things. And I try to be very kind when I do it. A lot of people don't do that. They just immediately go to attacking and belittling and demeaning people. And my least favorite I've seen is being like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Where did you hear that? And it's like, just tell them what you want to say without doing that. You're not engaging them in conversation. You're being demeaning. Just talk to them. Just talk to people like they're people. Don't demean them. Don't softball it. Don't be condescending. That is a guaranteed way of pushing people away. And if you're looking to get into rats, the community can be very brutal. There are corners for you. You just need to find your corner and settle in. But yeah, a lot of people can be very mean and condescending and sometimes cruel. So is the unexpected trauma that you can feel when your rat gets sick or injured or something. I have woken up on more than one occasion and found one of my rats covered in blood, either from like pyometra or a tumor that got torn open somehow, something like that. And that can be extremely difficult to deal with. And if that is something you know right now you cannot handle, do not get rats. Because that kind of thing can just happen. You can wake up and find them dead, you can wake up and find them injured, or you can wake up and find them bleeding. It can happen. So like, and it happens more frequently with rats than like cats, for example. I've never found one of my cats covered in blood. So just keep that in mind if that's something you can't handle. So yeah, I know this was a little bit of a weird one, perhaps, maybe not the happiest, but I do hope it was helpful to you. And if you liked it, you know what to do. Give it a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!